Okay, we're gonna do a little wrist lock from close guard. You're not gonna hit this very often because once you know about it, your opponent won't make the mistake that allows for this to happen. And the mistake is Kieran putting his hands right in the crooks of my elbows, like this, to try to control my arms. Okay? The correct position for his hands is to be like a pistol grip in the armpits. Because if the blade of his hands catch in my elbows, right, we have a wrist lock. The reason wrist locks are frowned upon is because you have to do them quickly. If you do them slowly, your opponent has lots of time to rip their arm out, right? So that's why people kind of don't like them. Or people don't like people who do wrist locks. They tend to hurt their partners, right? But all we're going to do for this wrist lock is pick a side if I'm doing my right hand, and I'm just going to try to touch my opposite shoulder. And that's going to pinch my forearm to my bicep, trapping Kieran's hand. Okay? And now from here, I simply sit up. Okay? What's happening to the wrist is it's getting twisted, right? And then it's getting like the pinky bent towards the top of the forearm. Okay? So all we're doing is pinching that hand in between our bicep and forearm as we reach for our opposite shoulder. Okay? So you can see it's come all the way up onto my chest. Then we simply do a crunch. Okay? Now, like I said, the people hate these because you typically have to do it quickly, which I'm not going to do now. But, you know, if you were here, you would typically go, boop, right? That's why people hate wrist locks, because you snap them on. You won't catch this very often because once you know, Kieran will now never put his hands there. If he puts his hands here, there's no wrist lock here, right? So, don't get wrist locked in close guard.